climate science is a system science. It's like trying to understand your body, or trying to figure out something with cancer, or how is the educational system going to work most effectively, and how are we going to do security. Every one of these complex systems problems has multiple components. And when you break them down, what you find out is rarely do we know everything, and rarely do we know nothing. So we have to break system science into the well-established components, which are settled, into competing explanations where our work has been able to get us to winnow it down to 2 or 3 possibilities. Here's where the disconnect comes along. Special interests will grab what's convenient for their ideology or their position. So what you end up with is you end up with a cacophony, typically, of people selecting stuff out of context.
Carbon dioxide is natural.
Carbon dioxide is what plants eat.
It is a part of the regular life cycle of Earth.
There's absolutely no point in trying to control the emission of greenhouse gases.
Life on planet Earth can't even exist without carbon dioxide.
Congress is considering a law branding carbon dioxide as pollution. This will cost us jobs. Carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide are emitted from engines and power plants. While carbon monoxide is often harmful, it's been proven that higher levels of carbon dioxide result in more plant growth and less water required for plants to grow faster and larger. Take action. Contact your senator and congressman today and remind them that CO2 is not a pollutant, and more CO2 results in a greener Earth.
The fact of the matter is the science is not settled.
Global warming is not a crisis. I think this conference proved that there's no consensus.
Their argument is that by cutting CO2s, we save the environment and curb global warming. Okay. One scientist, though, is saying that just is not the case.
Insect-borne diseases such as malaria will explode. Where it's dry, it's likely to become much drier.
We're likely to see hundreds of millions of what we'll call environmental refugees.
It has the potential to escalate into the largest global catastrophe mankind has ever known.
Climate change could take on a life of its own, and global warming would become a runaway train.
We'll have 8 degrees, we'll be 8 degrees hotter, and basically none of the crops will grow. Most of the people will have died, and the rest of us will be cannibals. Civilization will have broken down.
Over this predicted catastrophe.
Those activities which are emitting carbon dioxide are obviously imposing a cost on the Earth, on humanity, on this generation and the next generation.
The number of environmental refugees to more than 250 million people. The shortage of resources and the high number of refugees will increase tensions all over the world.
And then you end up with the end of the world versus good for you. The end of the world and good for you are the two lowest probability outcomes. What we are looking at is a multiple range of potential outcomes, and what systems scientists do is they winnow out the relative likelihood of these multiple outcomes. So if you try to cover it as a yes or no, and you go out there and you take a 200 scientist report like the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it goes through 3 years of writing, 2 rounds of reviews, 1,000 review comments on every chapter, and then 2 petroleum geologists, who are special interest in finding oil, paid by which oil company because they have PhDs and given equal status in a story or on television. You see, we get a little mad about that, and we call that utter distortion, and they say, oh no, that's balance. It is not balance, it is utter distortion. Because they are not reporting the relative credibility of the multiple positions. And it means that you're leaving it up to the public and the political world to figure that out for themselves. They're capable of it, but they rarely do it.
Yes, the globe is warming, but is it really all our fault? And is it true that the debate is over? These scientists are among those who say the debate is by no means over. Some scientists say the warming may be caused by changes in the sun, or ocean currents, or changes in cloud cover, or other things we don't understand. The debate is not over.
It's not lost on some of you that is special interest blabber. We heard that from the American Tobacco Institute for years. Remember? 3 studies are equivocal about whether smoking causes cancer.
The record shows that many of the country's most respected doctors openly challenge anti-cigarette claims. A California doctor said, as a scientist, I find no persuasive evidence that cigarette smoking causes lung cancer. A New York doctor told Congress to claim there is now sufficient scientific evidence to establish that cigarette smoking causes disease is, in my opinion, unjustified. There is another side to the cigarette controversy. It's all here in this white paper. Send for it.
And they correctly said, and still to this day, we do not know biophysically the precise links between smoking and cancer. So they give you a therefore when there's no therefore there. Therefore, it's premature to act. That's a personal value judgment or risk management. Of course, they protect market share. Whereas the data are so overwhelming epidemiologically, the statistics, that you'd have to be crazy not to control this, even though you don't understand every detail of the mechanisms. How many people in this place, in this fire-prone California, have had a house fire? A few of you. Typically it's 1 to 2%. How many of you have fire insurance? We already are very risk averse when we have consequences that matter. We do not need 95% certainty. Here is where, again, people frame this problem by looking for exceptions to the conventional wisdom and claim until the exceptions are resolved, it isn't proved and it's premature to act, yet we're acting on a 1% risk and paying insurance. And here we're talking about 50% risks in the planetary life support system, and they're telling us that's not certain enough. Supposing you got a spot on your lung from a chest x-ray, which you did for a different purpose than looking for cancer. Well, it could be a healed lesion or it could be the beginning of a tumor, and I actually know 2 examples where this really happened. So they were asked what to do. Well, what should we do, doc? Well, do a biopsy. Well, it's hard to get to. We have to do surgery. Surgery has a risk. It's expensive. It's painful. In other words, there's a price for a false positive. If you believe that that could be cancer and you try to take it out, you will pay a price. So, okay, we don't want to pay the price, so let's wait and see. What can we do? And the doc said, well, you can wait, and if it grows, then we better take it out. And of course, this patient said, but what's the chance that if I wait and it grows, that it becomes metastatic, and therefore it'll be too late and I'll be dead, whereas if I take it out now in a precautionary mode, pay the price for the surgery I might not need, I'll have a lower likelihood of being dead. Now, what's the right answer to that? There is no right answer. That's your value judgment.